everyone, it is April. Amazingly, it's sort of crazy to think that we're through a third of the year. Like on the one hand, I feel like it's crazy how fast the year has moved. On the other hand, it seems like it was a long time ago when we had all that January craziness. So I can't tell if this is like a fast year or a slow year. It's sort of like both at the same time. It's doing weird things to my brain. Reminder, we love it when you contribute to chat. We're gonna have a couple of interesting things to chat about, actually a few things interesting to chat about today. When you chat, please select the all panelists and attendees option in chat so you are chatting to the broader community. It might say everyone, I'm not sure what it says these days. Just make sure you choose the one that goes to everybody instead. As a reminder, we are still publishing new COVID information, whether they're brand new reports or traffic briefings or what's happening with opening rates and whatnot. You'll find new updates every couple of days on the datassential.com/coronavirus microsite. I think at this point there's, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 different pieces of content there for you. And as always, it is completely free to the industry. So we only ask that you share it broadly so we can all recover as quickly as we can. Also, for those of you that subscribe to Datassential Snap services, make sure you check out the brand new scores. It is really awesome. We spent a few minutes on it on the last webinar. We've seen a lot of people log in and start playing with a lot of the new features. It's really, really cool. So if you have scores access, make sure you jump in and check out all the new stuff in there. And if you don't, reach out to us and we'll help set you up with some sort of a quick demo or trial access or something. But it's really, really great. As a reminder, scores is basically tracking of every new menu item that hits chain restaurants, plus the ability to test your own menu ideas very, very quickly and in the most proven, vetted way possible. So with that, let's get into some of our COVID stats. And this one's actually pretty interesting. You know, going all the way back to last March, we've been tracking, are you really concerned about coronavirus on a personal basis, like you're worried about your own personal health or your own personal risk? And we saw things sort of, you know, start to spike up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, in the last week, we've seen that very concerned number start to head down. We're at 51%, which is actually relatively low compared to where we've been historically. And it's a pretty precipitous decline from the 63 we saw just a couple weeks earlier. I'm assuming this is due to more people getting vaccinated and us approaching some sort of a critical mass where even if you're not vaccinated yet, you probably feel like you have the ability to be soon. But we'll see if this very positive trend continues. At the same time, though, we also ask, are you definitely avoiding eating out as a result of COVID? And here you can see we have still a little bit of a downward trend, but we don't have that really big drop that we saw in this number as we did in the just I'm very concerned about COVID numbers. So it seems like people are saying, yeah, I don't feel, you know, I'm not nearly as scared as I was, but it hasn't yet materialized into how I think about eating out quite yet, that we've had a more modest improvement in this number versus the big improvement we saw in the personal concern thing. So hopefully this is just a laggard effect and we'll see it catch up pretty quickly in the periods ahead, but we're gonna have to wait and see what plays out. Now, we have been asking for a while now and there's not much movement here. This question of what's the bigger deal to you, the public health crisis or the economic crisis? It's still essentially a 50-50. We'll continue to report this, and if we see updates in the future where we have a really big shift in perception, because this is one of those things where one event in the news cycle can have a really big impact, we'll make sure to call it out. But we're basically holding steady at a slight majority saying it's more a public health crisis. Okay, so a couple of quick stats. As of 2 days ago, about 16% of the US is now fully vaccinated. You can see what that number looks like. And the rate of improvement is something around 0.3% per day. So if that continues to hold, we'll get in the 20s and the 30s, et cetera, in the not so distant future. One of the questions is, you know, what does this look like across different areas? You know, are all states in the US vaccinating at the same rate, or do you see much bigger disparities? Mike, Renee, if you had to guess, would you say that, all the states sort of trade within a fairly tight range, or do you think you see like really big swings where some states are at 3% and other states are at like 40%? Or do you think they're all sort of in that mid-teens number?
They're all about the same, but then I thought there were states where like anybody could get it any time, sort of thing, like not as many different phases.
Yeah, I think you're right on. So here's the actual state by state information. So you do have some states that are doing a little bit more than others. Alaska and is kicking butt. Looks like New Mexico is doing really well. South Dakota's up there too. And then you have some others that are a bit lower, but it's not huge dramatic differences from one state to the next. So I think that's pretty good news too. And you're right? There's different levels of availability across states, but overall, the rates are not massively dissimilar. So the question that I thought was really interesting is if you go back and you think about that, hey, are you personally really concerned about COVID, your own personal risk? And we looked at those numbers based on people who've already been vaccinated and people who have yet to be vaccinated. And there's really not much of a difference, right? 48% of people who have already been vaccinated said, I'm very concerned about COVID and personal risk to me. And of the people that have not yet been vaccinated, the number is essentially the same statistically. It's a 52. There's not much of a difference over there. And the question is, what could possibly be driving that? And what you have to sort of remember is there's sort of different camps of people that have not yet been vaccinated. You have the folks that say, I haven't had a chance to get the vaccine yet, but I am like dying to get it. I can't wait to get it. Then you have the folks that say, nah, I don't really plan to, right? I don't really care to, even if it were available to me. And that's what's sort of driving it. So you have the people that have not been vaccinated yet and want to, they are really concerned, right? 67% of them say, I'm very concerned, right? And logically, it makes sense. If you've already been vaccinated, your concern level probably goes down a little bit. Otherwise, what's the point of the vaccine? But then you have this other group of people that say, you know what, I don't really care to get vaccinated at all. It's not something that appeals to me for whatever reason. And the thing that really pops up here is fewer of them are concerned, and many more of them are just not concerned about COVID whatsoever. So that's what's sort of driving that phenomenon. And you can sort of extend this a little bit further and say, well, what does that mean for restaurant visitation? Here's that same information. Are you totally cool with going out and eating at a restaurant, like no issues with it whatsoever? Are you sort of nervous about it, but you'll still do it? Or are you definitely avoiding going to restaurants? And the operative number here is this 53% of people that say, you know what, I don't really care to get vaccinated. They never had an issue with going to restaurants in the first place, right? Compared to 19%, 23% of other consumers that are likely to get vaccinated. So one way of thinking about this is some of the people that are already open to going to restaurants have basically already been going to restaurants pre-vaccine, because the vaccine even today isn't that relevant to the way they see themselves. So there's an interesting sort of dichotomy that's happening over there that's driving that thing that looks like there's not much of a split between those that have been vaccinated and those that have not yet been vaccinated. Just remember, at one extreme end of that tail, it's this population, and it's a reasonably sizable population of consumers who say, you know what, I don't plan on getting vaccinated anyways, and I've been sort of living my life the way I want to, regardless, probably for the past several months. So there's some interesting things that we've seen out there, right? This, hey, show your vaccination card, get a free donut, or maybe get some other free perk at a restaurant somewhere or other types of businesses. And the question is this motivating to consumers, right? So is this an opportunity, let's say, for restaurants and other businesses to bring more people in because you have this cool vaccine promotion? And here's what the numbers look like. So 48% of consumers say they would be more likely to visit a restaurant that offered some sort of a vaccination discount. Interestingly, and I don't really know what's driving this, men are more likely to respond positively towards a vaccine discount, like a free donut or something, than are women. Mike, Renee, I don't even want to try to guess what might be driving that. So I'm going to ask you to guess instead. Any ideas why there might be a difference?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, again, we've talked about in the past, maybe men are just more food motivated in general.
Are they more food motivated? Are they more frugal? Are they, are they more discount minded people overall? I'm not really sure. And then
that's
obviously
weird. That is an interesting difference there.
And then obviously that 48% number grows, right? So if you look at just the vaccinated population, that number becomes 67%. So as more and more people get vaccinated, the overall number that we're seeing as a 48 right now will also continue to grow. It is crazy to think that we're talking about things like, oh, hey, get a free donut if you've been vaccinated as an actual promo, but it's basically becoming mainstream. And the numbers will get so large that it'll be sort of the norm, I think, at some point, at least for a period of time. And that really is sort of a setup for some of the stuff we're going to see today. There's so many things that we've looked at over the past year that seem wild and crazy that have actually come to fruition in a pretty material way. And we're going to cover some of those. I did want to share one other experience real quick, and maybe many of you that have been traveling recently or visited another city have had similar experiences. So I think many of you know that I live in Nashville currently and have been living here for the last few years. And I just got back from a week-long trip to Seattle, and it was really interesting, maybe even almost mind-blowing to see just how different the attitudes in mask wearing are between the two cities. So like in Nashville over here, people wear masks indoors. They respect the rules, but as soon as they exit that store or restaurant, that mask comes like straight off, hanging under their chin, or taken off completely. It's almost like a muscle memory movement. Like as you cross the threshold of the store, like at the same time, you just peel that sucker off. In Seattle, people are like masked up seemingly all the time, right? So on the streets, everyone's wearing a mask. In cars, people driving their cars alone, a lot of them are wearing masks. I don't know if it's a majority. That was an interesting thing to see. And then going out hiking in a big old state park, you'll see people where there's literally no one around for, I don't know, thousands of feet, walking alone, and they're masked up too. If that happened here in Nashville or Tennessee, people would probably think those people are crazy. And the people in Seattle probably think the people here in Nashville are crazy. So it's really interesting to see. And I guess I wonder if we just have really different experiences around expectations with masks, and that's going to sort of shape what we plan on doing individually with masks going forward. So I would like to just propose a quick poll question, and let me set this up. It's real simple. Think about how you personally feel about masks and which one of these two options you think is most representative of your mind state. Is it option A, which is I cannot wait to take off my mask for good once it's safe to do so, or is it B, I've actually sort of grown to like masks a little bit, and I might even wear them down the road even if I'm not asked to. I've seen discussion threads where some people just say, I actually sort of like masks. I think they're sort of cool now. They help me keep my anonymity a little bit better. In cold weather, I can get that. I think this is sort of gross, but I can get that blowback of hot air, my hot breath on my face, and that keeps me warm. I think that's sort of disgusting, but some people like it. But it's an interesting thing. Mike, Renee, what do you think this vote will look like?
I personally like my mask, and I think I'll wear it like in perpetuity. But I have to imagine that the majority of people say that.
You think you think you'll wear it in perpetuity?
I mean, like not like everywhere, but yeah, on the train, like I'm gonna wear my mask. Like I honestly cannot imagine getting on a crowded train and breathing the same air that other people.
That's true. Yeah, the L trains. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. I think I think most people are going to say they can't wait to be away with them, which lately I've been pretty lazy about my mask. I'm just like, I'm going to just stay away from people, not have
And
to
then
worry.
flu season, like when flu season comes around and you hear people coughing, like, and there's just no way. Like, to me, it's like really easy just to pop on the mask.
Well, let's take a look at what people said, and I think this is super, super interesting. There was a slight majority, it was a majority, but not a crazy majority though, that says can't wait to take these things off. But he had nearly 40% saying I've actually sort of grown to like them, and I'm going to maybe do what Mike just sort of said. If you really have a third of consumers, or even 20%, or even 15% that are doing that, I think you can end up in a place where it becomes just a standard uniform for restaurant workers. Right, if 1/5, 1/6 of your customers are doing it, there's probably an expectation that you do it too. So there's probably still a pretty healthy market for making a really, really cool mask that's breathable and comfortable and effective. I still use a pretty basic one that I buy off Amazon, and those disposable black ones, but they might.
I kind of have gotten into them. There are some cute ones.
But this is striking to me, right? At the start if we asked the same question at the start of the pandemic, I think it'd be like 95-5 or something, right? But we've now worn a mask for a year. We probably sort of got used to it, and some of us have actually sort of said, oh, I sort of like this aspect of it that maybe has nothing to do with health risk. They just like other things that the mask maybe does for them too. So
I think it's interesting too, like when you look at Yelp reviews of restaurants right now, you'll see people saying, like, I saw the person behind the counter making my food not wearing a mask. So you can see that, customers are really kind of concerned about the fact that somebody's, standing over their food not wearing a mask. And I could see that, continuing into the future.
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the things to look at is, what are people doing today? So this is very recent data. I think it's from just a couple of days ago. And here we're looking at different activities, behaviors, and it's, have you already done this? Are you planning to do this? And then this part you don't see are the people that say, no, I'm not planning to do this. And what I would look at is, what are the things that people have already done? And I'd sort of look at what are the things that people have not done in pink, but are planning to, and what is sort of the ratio between them. So we do know that people have gone to eat in restaurants. I think last time we saw that 27% of consumers have actually eaten inside of a restaurant within the prior 7 days, something like that. But how about actually going out and like meeting friends and stuff at a restaurant or a bar? About 13% have done it already. You have nearly twice as many that say they're planning to. So you sort of see how these ratios play out for different types of activities. You look at air travel. It's really interesting, right? Only 4% have actually done it, for a vacation, but you have 5 or 6 times as many, let's say, they're making plans to. So you get this sense of where the pent-up demand actually is. Not as many people making plans to go have lunch with their coworkers. So I guess maybe people don't like their coworkers as much as we would like them to, but that's another story. So let's transition now and take a look at some things that are happening in the world. And this is what Mike and Renee are going to guide us through. And Mike is our lead trendologist. I think, Mike, you have a degree in food anthropology. Is that the actual?
Yeah.
Exactly. And Renee is a really, really key part of the trends team too, and brings all these great things to us. So they're going to share some things that we've been seeing over just the last couple of weeks. And it is April Fool's. So the interesting thing is, if you look at a lot of the stuff we've been talking about for the past year, a lot of that stuff seemed like it was totally made up, but it was actually all true. And some of the stuff became common. I mean, if you're like in the very early days of COVID, we're like, oh yeah, you're going to see plastic barriers everywhere. That's actually seemed crazy at the time. And now it's basically the norm. Oh, you're going to see, cardboard cutouts of people sitting in chairs. It's basically certainly the norm for sporting events now, and also more and more the norm in some restaurants too. So what we've done for April Fools is we've actually made up one thing that is completely fictitious. There's a fake of all the things we're going to show you. One of them is fake, and we will reveal what that fake thing is at the end. But you're going to sort of play along now, and as we go from trend to trend, if you think you know which one is real or which one is fake, by all means, put it in chat, show everyone else how smart you are and that you're really perceptive. We just ask that you play by the rules, which is no Googling allowed.
I was going to say, that's not fun.
You're not allowed to cheat at this game. So we're going on the honor system over here. But let's see if you all can figure out the one thing that is not real among all the other things that are totally real. So with that, Mike, Renee, I will let you take it away.
And I will say too, we have a really good design team that can pretty much create anything. So, so the first section here, we'll just get into some of the COVID pivots, and I think this is kind of what we've been talking about for the most part over the all of these webinars. But some of the stuff that we've been seeing more recently is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so this is an app called Citizens Go, and I think we've touched about this before, but just putting that food hall experience into an app. So there's so many times when I'm ordering on DoorDash or Uber Eats, and I wish I could pick and choose and get a shake from here and a burger from there and all of that stuff, and I just don't want to pay all those fees. But for this, they have this in a couple different cities, and you can order from 3 different restaurants. So it's kind of that experience of the food hall right in an app. So that's pretty cool.
So these restaurants are all related to one another somehow, or
they're kind of themed. So it's like there's Umami Burger, and there's a sushi restaurant as well. But they're not there's not an actual food hall. Like, this is just an app that's kind of bringing them together. So
okay, cool. Yeah, we did that actually. Like last week, we're in Seattle. I wanted to just keep ordering more and more sushi because I can't get any decent out here in Nashville. I was getting very sick of it, so we would order from 2 different places simultaneously. This would come in handy.
Really?
Yeah, that is cool. I love this example. So I found this in St. Louis, this fine dining restaurant, Bow Rush. And actually, it doesn't look like too much there. Maybe it's just because it's the parking lot. But they have this park and dine deal. Is that what it's called? Yeah, park and dine experience. So instead of, a lot of fine dining places now, you can get to go and, just service to your car, but this is actually bringing, 4 or 5 courses to your car. It's actually on nice plates and everything. And they said that it was basically the same menu, except for, I like this quote, that they nixed anything that would wilt, die, or collapse within 15 minutes. So I didn't know about the collapse, but Mike pointed out a souffle. You don't want that to be delivered to your car. But then they also provided a Spotify link too, so you can have some of that ambiance in your car. They have a flag system so that they actually know when to come and give you your next course. And so it's really taking that experience into your car and kind of doing it safely without it being just a drive-through experience.
So that's actually sort of cool. Your car is the table now, right?
Yeah.
And so many cars now have really cool entertainment systems where you could watch a movie or something. It's a cool way of doing dinner and a movie. I do have to ask, what is an Ozark tasting menu? What is Ozarkian?
What is Ozark cuisine?
That is what they're known for. So it looks quite interesting. I mean, that one just
looks like lettuce and tomato. That's not that interesting to me at all. But what is Ozarkian food?
Maybe we should do a creative concepts on Ozark.
But they also have a Zoom link too, so that you can talk to the chef and ask them questions and hear the kitchen sounds too. So I think that's kind of cool. This is an example of, again, with drive-throughs, we've seen so many places adding drive-throughs. I think Pizza Hut just added 1,500 drive-throughs to their plan. This is a Laredo taco. And 7-Eleven drive-through, so you can get your tacos and get your Slurpees as well. So just seeing a lot more people playing around with this idea of that safety of the car.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good concept. If anyone knows, is Laredo a 7-Eleven concept? Because I see them embedded in convenience stores sometimes, and I think they're usually convenience stores that might be owned by 7-Eleven.
Yeah, so I guess usually they're found within the 7-Elevens already. So why not combine them? I mean, that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, so this we had talked about before with entertainers and some of the live music bands, people doing like a concert to go sort of thing, and still employing people that would be doing live music at your restaurant. This is kind of the same thing. It's called Meals on Heels at Oasis Drag Bar in San Francisco. So these guys are just chilling in what looks like a garage. And so they leveraged their drag performers who, you know, were kind of out of work with not doing shows, and had them deliver 3-course meals. So delivering cocktails and entrees and appetizers, and then you also got a show with it too. So I thought that was kind of
cool. So the people in the background are customers watching the show, or?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, and they've got their food there and stuff. So
this is big on TikTok too. There's a bunch of TikTok videos of people ordering from restaurants that have drag performers that deliver your food.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a fun experience to TikTok. I don't TikTok, but to TikTok if you do that.
So are you watching the show as they get your food ready to go, or are you supposed to eat while you're watching the show?
You're supposed to
they're
eat,
just sitting there watching the show. They
yeah, it looks a little awkward there, but presumably you'd be like drinking and eating while they do it as well as the show. But it was so popular that they had to expand the number of delivery days. So
one of the things that's hard to do if you're sharing your screen on Zoom is to actually follow along in chat. Are people trying to guess at which of these is real and which are not?
Yeah, and we've already had multiple that people think are fake, including this one.
Oh, okay.
So
but then see,
you all to try to guess. And I would say each time we get to one, just type real or fake, and let's see what the ratio is.
It's hard though, because people are in these cities and live in these cities, so
they know it's true.
Restaurant is real, and
yeah. Somebody said Balrush is real. That's true. That did look kind of like just a random photo of a.
I questioned because I did not know that Ozarkian cuisine was a thing. Or why it would show up in, was it St. Louis or something?
St. Louis.
Yeah.
This is real. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get them though. We're gonna get them. And this Royal Izakaya in Philadelphia is just another example of fine dining restaurants I've had to really pivot. And you know, before you wouldn't really see too much takeout or delivery from fine dining restaurants, but this place they have, you know, you can get a $300 bottle of sake, you know, to go. You can get this uni kit that actually is more than just, you know, you make your own hand roll. And things like that. So just kind of a cool example of some of the high-end things that you can get.
That sounds awesome. So I don't think you get that much uni, like what's shown in the picture.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
That's a lot. And I don't know, the prices seem really good because they also had a 44-piece maki or nigiri with like caviar and gold leaf and all of that stuff for like $100. It said I was out of stock, which probably because it's so cheap, but I would totally pay that.
So this is the weird thing. So again, just got back from Seattle, and sushi was like, you know, for like a chirashi bowl or even nigiri was really affordable, it seemed, over there for good quality stuff. But then we went to just a Mexican fast food place, right? And like a sort of taco stand type of place. And a normal burrito there was $15. I'm like, what the heck? So
I hope it was a big burrito.
No, it was a normal, standard burrito. It was so expensive.
That's
crazy.
Weird, huh?
But that uni looks delicious. What is this?
Oh, so we've covered a few of these over past webinars where hotels were turning the hotel rooms into private dining experiences. So this is the Logan in Philadelphia, and they did this, but they kind of took it to the next level where they created a date night package where you got a 3-course meal from their restaurant in the room. You also got an overnight stay, but then you also had all of these add-ons that you could do. So you could get a private butler, you could get a cocktail class at your front door to the room. And it was incredibly popular. I think they said within the first week of putting all of these packages online, they sold out of the entire season of them. And I think it's just another great example of something that should stick around when all this is over. Like, it clearly really resonates with consumers.
So that's interesting because this is not functionally that different than what hotels have done in the past when, you book a room and you get like a food and beverage credit. Mm-hmm. But here they flip the script where you're booking the dinner and you happen to get a room to stay in. which maybe the food is more important than the bed.
Right?
Basically.
Yeah. Well, and if you have that restaurant in your hotel already, it's almost like you could do an add-on package when people reserve at your restaurant. Like, oh, do you want to add a room, like an overnight stay to the restaurant? Like with your reservation, we can do that for you.
I mean, sometimes I'm so bloated after dinner, I'm like, I don't want to get in the car or do anything.
Yeah.
Turn over. So this is a great idea.
Yeah, that looks delicious too.
Oh, and this is, I mean, we're seeing.
This looks like a mock-up to me.
I mean, don't tell people, Jack.
Looks Photoshop, Mike.
Content, or am I trying to trick you?
I mean, so we've been hearing from across the country that stadiums are reopening. You know, they want to open baseball stadiums because they're outdoors. Chicago has announced it. So Aramark was talking about all of the initiatives that they have as stadiums reopen. And this is one of them. I think this is the first time we've seen, you know, one of these operators that incorporates that just walk out technology that you associate with the Amazon stores, where you just like connect your card to it, you walk in, you get whatever you want, and then you literally walk out and it charges you. But they found that it's incredibly popular with people at stadiums because they don't like to be away from their seat for a long time and, you know, miss part of the game. So, I mean, like, this is, again, something that will probably stick around because consumers really love it.
So I wish I could zoom in more and read the sign that says how it works, but can you describe how this actually works? So like for the Amazon Go stores, I'm assuming you need an Amazon account already and you've had all these things set up. How does it work at a stadium if you're not already subscribed?
So in this case, it works one of two ways. You can either, before you go in, connect your credit card to the system. So you actually just sign up right there. Or if you download the Stadium app, you can use the Stadium app to actually go in there. And then you just kind of take the little barcode that's on your app, you scan it right there, and then it just automatically gets charged to your account.
Oh, it's so you scan it. It's not camera technology or anything else. It
is. So I mean, you're just scanning the app so that you're charged. But once you pick up things and walk out of the store, you don't have to scan anything ever again. So it is that like overhead technology that sees what you've picked up from the shelf.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
They also said the app has just been popular in general with people at the seats because they don't want to go up, stand in line, figure out what, you know, everything is at in all the stadium stands, go back to the seat, figure out what their party wants. If you're there with 10 people in a row, you could just take everybody's orders and then just go pick it up. So they said, yeah, I mean, a lot of this technology is just really popular with consumers.
This is so much better, right? I mean, or how about at grocery stores? Do you like doing the self-checkout or do you like having like a person there?
I do self-checkout. If I can do self-checkout.
I don't like the self-checkout.
Really?
It's weird because I don't want to interact per se, but I also just feel like sometimes I get pressured, like because I feel like I'm going too slow or I can't find the scanner. Like, I don't know, it's too much pressure for me.
I guess for me, like I'll do the self-checkout unless I have too many items, or if I have produce, becomes sort of a pain to like look up the code.
Yeah, that is hard sometimes.
And if you have too many items, you're like putting stuff in the bags and like the weight gets off. And but I feel like under 20 items are probably pretty good.
Yeah.
And I feel like 50% of the time it just tells you that you have to put the thing in the bag again, and then you get yelled at and you have to pull somebody over. So
Manny's in Chicago.
It is. Yeah.
So Manny's in the South Loop in Chicago. So they announced that they were going to do, if they could go 30 days without somebody coming in maskless, they would do a day of free sandwiches. Unfortunately, they didn't make it 30 minutes without somebody coming in maskless. And they said it's not really, in Chicago, the mask awareness is really high. People wear their masks. It's more that people just forget. They're sitting at the table and they're eating and they get up and they forget to put their mask back on again. But because it's a deli, everybody has to interact with their staff. So it's really about keeping their staff safe. A nice thing, though, is that one of the customers actually paid for 1,000 sandwiches for masked people coming in. So they did kind of do a giveaway. And I've a couple places in the country have tried to do things like this. I don't think I've seen one yet that has actually seen, like perfect compliance.
That's a pretty generous giveaway, isn't
it?
Well, I was telling Mike they should do this again, and I'll just stand outside and yell at everyone and be like, "Put on your mask. I want it."
I wonder if someone's gonna develop like food that comes in a form factor that's designed to be eaten behind a mask, like small bite type of things you just sort of shove under the I feel like fried chicken would be really hard to do while wearing a mask, but there are probably other things.
Or yeah, even sandwiches. I mean, some of those huge sandwiches, you couldn't do that.
Drinkable foods is a thing, right? If more stuff could be drank through a straw, like liquid pizza,
Oh God.
This is not
that should have been one of our fake April Fools.
Oh, so this is really cool. I wish this existed in Chicago, because I think, a lot of people are getting kind of tired of, having their own lunches. And, when you're in the office, you get, a lot of times you'll get this or that, or just snacks and things like that. So in Toronto, this Good Fortune Burger had a receipts spelled with eats, EATS, at the end menu. And they camouflaged basically all of their burgers and fries and stuff as office supplies. And so that they were telling you that they were encouraging people to expense it for their office. And it came with the receipt that said it was office supplies. So they had like ergonomic, like laptop stands and earphones and things like that. So
So I'd like to be very clear that we were merely reporting on this and certainly not advocating this behavior.
Well, yeah, if you can find another place that's doing this, that's
So just showing you the news, folks. That's it. How about new technology or anything on the tech side of things?
Yeah, and we have some really wild stuff in here.
Yeah.
So this is Walmart in Canada, and they've actually partnered with Ghost Kitchens to put, it's Ghost Kitchen Brands is the company, and they've partnered with Ghost Kitchen Brands to put these ghost kitchens into Walmart stores in Canada. And the cool thing about it is that not only can you get foods from a variety of different operators, I think it's like a list of 20 brands. So you can actually get foods from Quiznos, you can get foods from Cheesecake Factory, but you can also add CPG products to it as well. So in one delivery or pickup order, you can get, your dessert from Cheesecake Factory, a sandwich from Quiznos, and you could get toilet paper from the Walmart store, all because it's Ghost
Okay,
Kitchen.
so I'm sort of confused. So where is the actual kitchen?
It's behind there. So if you would actually look behind that wall, that's where the kitchen is making the food there.
So they physically put kitchens inside of Walmart.
Yeah, and it's just branded. So they're just making this branded food in these kitchens.
So what is the upside for Walmart in this? Is it for their shoppers? Is it for third-party delivery of some sort?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, they said that for them, it functions as both a food court. So if you come in, you can order at one of those kiosks right there, and it basically is a food court in the store. But it's also, for them, a delivery platform. You're also adding products that Walmart sells to your order. So, and they're doing it in the U.S. too. I know that they're going to add a bunch of Salad Works ghost kitchens to U.S. locations.
Oh, so they're saying the consumer will lead with ordering food and then they'll add on other CPG items to their order. I see. Oh, that's really interesting.
And it's just, I think, like if you go into Walmart and at the end of your shopping experience, you can pop over here and, get a cool meal from Cheesecake Factory for dinner. I mean, all the better.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Even better, think about the people that don't have cars. And if you could, go to Walmart, order some food and get a ride home with your food at the same time delivered to your house. Like we'll deliver your food and you for the same price.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. This is Urbex Market. I think I'm saying that right. And the idea is they're going to open this in Boston. And so, we've seen a lot of retail innovation with curbside pickup and things like that. This is actually, you can't go in and shop yourself. It's all like robots, which, it sounds really fake to me. It might be. But those purple, that corridor tower thing on the left there is all of aisles. So they're calling it a vertical grocery store. So instead of aisles going, horizontally, in a lot of these markets where there's not a lot of there's not a lot of space and stuff, they actually have robots that go and like pick up your stuff and puts it into an order. So I don't know, it just seems too futuristic.
So the part on the right that's not super tall, that's where you go in and you order at those stations basically, and then the tower is where all the stuff is.
The tower or the aisles. Yeah. So they actually, the little robots go and pick through all the aisles and puts your order together. So I think that's, and do they deliver it to you, Mike, or do you get it?
Yeah, so it's delivery, or you can actually go in.
Or you can pick it up. Okay, yeah. So that's because it kind of looks like a lobby there on the right, like you were saying, Jack.
Are those, I mean, those aren't automated delivery things that drive themselves, right? Someone still sits in the thing and steers the delivery vehicle, I assume.
Oh, to actually deliver it to you? I think the ones, in the picture there, I think it looks like somebody would have to.
It almost looks like you're supposed to like pedal it with your feet or something. Like
what are those called? Like pedicabs or something? Yeah.
Like Flintstones type of thing. But I think it's motorized for sure. What is this?
Oh, this is just like a really funny little thing. This is a restaurant in Mexico put this together. It's kind of like a marketing initiative for them, but they have created this I Miss My Bar experience online. If you miss your bar, I would encourage you to just look this up, Google it. You can actually, they put their playlist. It's the actual playlist from their restaurant. You can see it in the corner. It's a link to their Spotify playlist online, but then you can actually use these little sliders here to make it sound like you're in a live bar. So you can increase the sound of bartenders working, or a bunch of customers in the restaurant. It's very accurate, actually. It really does kind of feel like you're in a bar. I would say, if you're doing like a Zoom happy hour, you should play this a little bit.
Oh, that's actually a great idea. So are they selling, like, are they delivering you drinks too or something? Or is it just a home ambiance type of thing?
Yeah, I think it's literally just to kind of get their name out there. And I mean, I have to say the playlists are really well selected too. I mean, I kind of feel like this is a cool place just from seeing that they're doing something like this.
Yeah, you could sort of see this going like really big and virtual and become like an online meeting place type of thing where people are sharing their ambiances together.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Chuck E. Cheese's.
This is called Piccadilly. This is really cool. This is in 2,000 grocery stores in Europe right now, and they're also coming to the US. And again, I don't know, technology just kind of blows my mind sometimes. This is like an automated salad bar where you can see the containers down there. They like weigh everything so that it's a lot easier for the grocery store workers to be refilling things. They will tell you, oh, you only need this much lettuce, before the end of the day so that everything is fresh and you don't have to worry about too much waste. They have like UV lights that disinfect the tongs that you see hanging up there. We've talked a lot about buffets that have been hit hard with COVID and just trying to, and again, like all this self-serve stuff too. A lot of people don't want to be touching everything and having it sit out there. So this is pretty cool. They're always, checking the temperatures too, which I think is important.
So, but it's basically just a self-serve salad bar to the consumer. It just has some cool stuff on the back end to keep things safe and tell them when to restock stuff, essentially.
Yeah. And it actually like keeps track of holidays too. So for like Easter coming up, it'll, tell them to stock more ham or things like that. I'm sure with St. Patrick's Day, it would be, put in more corned beef and whatnot. So I think it's more of a back end thing. But then some of the safety features, like I would love to see that, okay, this hasn't been sitting out, for 15 days or, this is at the right temperature, that sort of thing, I think is helpful for consumers at this point.
I've actually always wondered, are there any items in the salad bar that are actually, where it's actually more cost effective to buy it by the pound in the salad bar than as an ingredient somewhere else in the store?
Right? That's a good.
Maybe. I mean, it probably.
Are there any products that are more than $8.99 a pound on their own?
I think of it as more like if I don't need a whole lot of something, I just need like 5 olives or something, which I don't like olives, so I actually would not buy olives. But, if you only need a certain amount of something, then you don't have to go buy a huge container. You can just get it from the salad bar.
I agree. I'm almost thinking like more from like a financial side. So let's say you're trying to do, salad bar arbitrage or something. Is there something that you could load up on in the salad bar that would actually be cheaper to get it that way than buying it in the aisle? Like I'm thinking like almonds, maybe, something like that. You might get
that isn't too heavy. That's not too heavy.
I think
if anyone in the chat has an idea, what's our salad bar arbitrage for the day? I'd be curious to know.
I mean, there's a ton of answers. People are saying bacon, dressing, dried fruit. Those are the things that you should get. Yeah. I think this one is interesting too because it's truly odd. Like, I mean, like the Piccadilly company is doing everything for you except stocking it. So you don't even put your own foods in there. It's literally the Piccadilly company is bringing you the lettuce, bringing you the meat. So it's really from like the store perspective. I think they said it only takes up about 15 hours of labor for your employees at the store, and it's just constantly rebalancing like what you should put on there to make sure that you're profitable. Oh gosh, this one, I'm the worst. Like I'm not the person that should be describing exactly how this works. But this is an idea that comes from Facebook. So it's an augmented reality platform. So if you know augmented reality, it's, if you're wearing the glasses, you see things in, the world around you that make it look like, they're actually in the world. Pokemon Go is like the #1 example that everybody uses, where it looks like there's Pokemons around you. So everybody's trying to, work on things that, incorporate augmented reality. So Facebook has created this, it's this little wrist computer that you put on your wrist and you wear glasses with it. And apparently there are more neurons that are dedicated to your wrist and hand movements than anything else in your brain. And they figured out a way where you can control things in the augmented reality by just thinking about them. You don't even have to move your hand anymore because like the neurons, when they travel to your wrist, they can pick it up. So their example was you could go into a store and you could pick up a cereal box and you only have to think about like, I want recipes from using this cereal and they would pop up. You wouldn't even have to do anything. So it's literally getting to that point where you just think something and it happens.
See, that seems so cool and so fake, but I think people are already saying it's fake, but it seems like I would want that because I'm just too lazy. If I could just think something and it just happens, that would be amazing.
This is like some weird brain scanning, mind reading technology.
Right.
I will throw a question out there. If we ever have like true telekinesis type of stuff, right? Like person to person or via server, like, mind reading or mind talking, will language matter at that point? Right? Like, do you think in English words or do you think in concepts that are transcendent of language itself?
Oh gosh.
Can we go to a languageless society at some point? So here's a quick question. This is an easy one. Would you say that we have already stumbled across the fake story, or is it yet to come?
I think that last one. I don't know.
And as they say, truth is stranger than fiction. I think we're testing that theory right now. So I'll give it 10 more seconds.
One show I loved as a kid. It was like Fact or Fiction.
Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good.
And they would be like, there's a ghost. And then they'd be like, nope, the ghost was a fact. That actually happened. Yeah.
So 3/4 of us think that we've already spotted the fake story.
Wow.
Okay. Well, we will tell you later if you were right or not. Let's keep going.
All right. And I'm going to move fast here because we only have 10 minutes left and we have a good number of slides to get through. I'm, again, the wrong person to describe these non-fungible tokens, but so, I mean, you've probably been seeing them everywhere. NFTs, they're basically digital images or digital assets that you can purchase, and the blockchain can prove that you're the only one that owns either that one or however many are out there. If you really want to get into it, Planet Money from NPR did a really good show about exactly what they are. But so I mean, the amount of money that's being spent on them is insane. So all of these food brands have gotten into it. So Taco Bell, they actually did these non-fungible tokens. They did a taco here. In this case, it was a great idea. They actually took the proceeds and they gave it to their foundation. So it was all for
and didn't the Beeple piece of digital art go for like 67 million?
Yeah. Easy.
And in terms of what you actually get, you're not really getting anything. You're getting like a screenshot or a copy of a video that's freely available on YouTube, essentially, but that you're the official digital owner of it in some way.
I read about this last night because I didn't believe Mike.
And Pringles did it too. So these were their crypto crisps, which they worked with an artist to create this digital image of a Pringles can. They sold 50 of them. And the thing about a lot of these is because it's kind of a bubble right now, everybody's trying to resell them. So I know people were trying to resell the Taco Bell ones for like $200K. They resold this one for $1,500. I know Pizza Hut was doing originally. The Taco Bell one started pretty cheaply, like just over $1, I think, actually.
And it went for $200,000.
And then, on the resale market, people are trying to sell them for $200,000. I don't actually know if it sold for that amount, but that's what people are trying to do.
It's for people who think that Bitcoin is a safe investment.
And then this is an NFT dinner. And so I'm going to read actually the description of the 3-course meal that you get, which is it's a vinegar lemon ice cream with radish oranges and poblano pepper, pickled ginger, a grilled Gulf oyster with butter sweet corn cream peppers, fried candied corn silk, followed by pan-seared wild salmon on a nest of fennel and pear with a horseradish cream and topped with steelhead caviar from Tennessee. So this is the dinner that you get, but it's actually, you don't eat anything. You just get a video of this 3-course dinner. And I think he's like an 18-year-old chef that's trying to sell it. The last we checked, there weren't any bids on it.
If you're going to do like a dinner NFT and it doesn't exist really in real life, why not go for something really crazy? Like I would say, featuring, chicken grown on Mars with, alien sausage or something like that.
Like unicorn something.
Yeah. So hey, here's a quick poll. So I think most of you probably know what these NFTs are. Do you think these are things that'll keep going up in value and prove to be a decent investment, or is this a short-term mania that everything's going to crash to zero at some point? It'll be interesting to see what people think. So we're definitely getting votes strongly in one direction, and
everybody.
For the sake of keeping us on time, I'm going to shut this off. But we've gotten lots and lots of votes already. So, 90% of us think this is just a short-term tulip craze.
12% is higher than I thought.
Yeah, who knows? Some people become very fast millionaires with this. Let's look at some plant-based stuff.
Oh yeah, there's some cool ones in here. Oh, this is Nourish Ingredients out of Australia. So we've seen, all of these plant-based companies popping up to do, takes on meat and beef and pork and chicken, but they actually specialize in fat. So they're trying to recreate the fat that whether that's butter or animal fats, it's all fermented. So it's made by fermenting products. And for them, they said they actually just got $11 million in investment. For them, they said it's the same thing that, when we were developing burgers, plant-based burgers, it's that, you really want things to be so craveable, and fat is what's going to do that. So it's just a great market to be in if you want to create plant-based foods that are all.
And he says it's all fermented. Was that
all fermented? Yeah. So that's how they create them. Did they use yeast to ferment? Nugs. Oh, so this is like the Tesla of plant-based chicken nuggets, where they're just iterating them all the time. Like whenever you buy them, you might just get version 3.7 because they're just constantly improving them. But they opened up a ghost kitchen in San Francisco in order to test them with consumers. Within a month, I think they became, they were in the top 10 of the most favorite restaurants in San Francisco on the Uber Eats platform. And they said that this is how they're going to introduce all of their products to the market in the future. They've learned so much from it. They actually introduced a chicken nugget patty specifically because of the ghost kitchen. It's just, I think, ghost kitchens could be a really interesting way to introduce CPG products in the future.
So the company and the brand is Simulate and Nugs is the product, or?
Nugs is the product, yeah.
Okay, but the company is Simulate.
I think so. Yeah, they're a weird company.
Heard it being
they're really
Nugs.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have them in the kitchen. Somebody bought them at Datassential.
Yeah. So if you're on, or if anybody's tried them, they look interesting. This is actually from a different company called Like Meat overseas, but they actually have come up with more chicken nuggets, schnitzel, a bunch of plant-based things. And so they had this as an Instagram giveaway, and I thought it was more like a pouch, but it's like that whole vest. It's just like an insulated vest to have your chicken nuggets hot for 1.5 hours. So
it's
something
not
kooky.
electric, is it? It's just an insulated.
No, I think it's just insulated. I like the pink, and I like having. At first, I thought this was like a delivery person, and he's just like throwing chicken nuggets. bag. But no, I think it's more for like personal use.
And this is another area that I think, we haven't really seen people get into as much. But I mean, just kind of all these fermented foods that are moving into the plant-based, arena. So this is super brewed food where they actually brew prebiotics and that becomes a postbiotic. And then that postbiotic is a cheese that you can put on pizza. I hope I'm explaining this correctly and doing this company justice. But this is their plant in Minnesota, and the plan for them is to make enough cheese in the future to top 500 million pizzas or 1 billion burgers.
Wow.
This is a cool operator out of Oakland. So this is hella nuts. I mean, we see plant-based operators across the country, but this is one of the few that I've seen that are specifically nut focused. And so pretty much the entire menu is centered around either nut meats or nut cheeses or nut milks. Actually, over the course of the pandemic, they shut down the restaurant and they were selling their walnut-based meat and actually producing it in the restaurant and then selling it as a CPG product. But now they've actually opened as a restaurant.
Nut-based meat. Okay. Quick look at innovation. We're going to go through these fast.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, literally just a weird one. It's a Fruit Loop pizza at Fong's Pizza in Iowa. It has mozzarella on it and it also has Fruit Loops on it.
All right.
I know.
This one is super interesting. So this is an LA-based startup called Algorithmics. And previously they had worked in the entertainment industry in data intelligence. But over the past year, everybody was out of a job in the entertainment industry. They didn't have money. So they had a chance to pivot into pet food. They were doing all of this pet food research. I think the idea is more that now they have all this pet food research and they were looking for a way to resell it. But they're actually using that research to make human-friendly products now. So they said, oh, go ahead, John.
So basically, knowing what pets eat informs what they think people want to eat?
Exactly. So whether that's flavors or they said a lot of it is aspirational. So you can see that somebody's buying really fancy food for their pets. And so that customer is probably an aspirational customer in other parts of the grocery store. They might buy fancier meat or whatever.
So in the future, every human meal will be savory beef with gravy?
Maybe, yeah. And there's like a salmon snack is the first one that they're going to come out with.
Really quickly, this is Deliver Zero in New York. And so we've seen a lot, with the pandemic going on so long now and all of the trash and waste that's been coming from delivery and pickup. So this place has like really nice reusable, it still looks kind of like it could be plastic, but it kind of looks like glass too. So they're just kind of experimenting with nice reusable packaging.
And that's the whole thing is full sustainability, zero waste, reusable packaging for delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the same thing too, right, Mike?
Yeah, this is pretty much a similar idea, but it's kind of where you borrow these, metal servingware from a restaurant. They're doing it in Minnesota. But the cool thing is that you can bring it back to any other restaurant in that city that also uses them.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Deliver Zero, the previous one, like you pay for the container and then on your next order, they take it back from you and you get your credit back or something like that.
Yeah.
I think for this one, for sure.
And for this one, they do a $5 deposit, but they want to get away from it in the future. There's actually tracking chips in the bowls themselves. And if you don't bring it back, they'll just charge you in the future.
This is a steeped cocktail company. This kept popping up on my Instagram, and I just thought it was kind of wild. But it's all the ingredients you need for margaritas, or they have old fashions now, and you just steep it in cold water and then add your alcohol.
Awesome.
So I wonder if it's any good. It's kind of pricey, 10 bags for I think $30 without the alcohol. So I don't know. It looks interesting though.
Mm-hmm. This one, literally, it's just a rebrand of MGD, and I think they did a really good job. It looks fantastic. I mean, look how classy that is. And then our last one.
Oh yeah, so this is Taco Cabana. And speaking of April Fools, I think this is our last slide too. So Taco Cabana had come up with the joke that they were going to do a pickle margarita, and it was an April Fool's Day joke. But then everybody was like, "Oh my God, I would order this." So now I think 2 years later, they actually have this for sale now. So
they made it a thing. So we're at the end, and I would like to conclude by asking you all, which of these things was the fake one? So post in chat if you can remember back to what you thought was the one fake thing. Everything else is real. There's one that was fake. And I guess Mike, Renee, we're going to see how good of a liar you both are.
When there were a couple people who
Convince me.
think there's a couple people who think we are making it up and they were all actually real.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really tricky.
Yeah. I think people are getting it though.
They are?
I mean, they're all over the place, but it seems to be
it's on there.
Drag show and the mind reading like wrist platform seem to be the top 3.
Yeah.
I feel like this is an effective way to get people to stay a couple minutes past the hour when we go over.
It's true.
So that they
You'll never find out. You'll never find out otherwise.
Yes.
Okay, so drum roll, please, because I know you all have to get on with your busy days. This is actually the fake one. The LA entertainment actors that decide to make food to predict what humans are going to eat.
I did not get this one, so because Mike put it in there, and I was like, "Oh, there's already a fake one. I have no idea."
This doesn't seem that crazy. Like if somebody said they were doing this, I would be like, "Yep, that sounds absolutely."
I know, and we've done a lot actually with pet food too. And we a lot of pet food companies also make human food, so
it goes in the opposite direction, right? So people that are buying pet food will buy pet food for their pets based on what they like, and they want to impart that to their pets. I don't know if it ever works the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, savory beef with gravy. I guess that sounds pretty good. I don't know. As a reminder, we have a really great webinar in 2 weeks, and it's all about the restaurant landscape and what sort of happened as places open and close and what the new reality looks like. So please join us in 2 weeks, every other Thursday at noon Central. And again, if you haven't had a chance to yet, please jump into your Snap portal, check out the new scores. It's awesome. If you're not sure if you have access, let us know and we will try to get you set up. Thanks again, everyone. Happy April Fools. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.